Hello, my name is Medovoi, and I'm the founder and CEO of AltexSoft. In today's video, we continue to focus on product development and innovation in travel. I'll address verifying of your product hypothesis, finding competitive advantage, and throw in some trends and opportunities to consider. So, you have a product idea. You want to create a new product in travel. For example, a super innovative online travel agency, tour booking app, or software application to manage hotel properties. The key and fundamental questions are: what problem do you solve? Why would people use your product? Start simple. Try to frame your idea around any of these three basic needs. Will your product cut costs for your customers? Will it help them earn more money? Or will it save their time? It may actually be a combination of any of those three. And if your product idea addresses these basic needs, you're on the right track. You have a hypothesis of the problem you want to solve. You may understand the market, you may not, but you have an idea of how to address these identifiable problems. How do you verify this idea? Well, you have to ensure that you are solving the real market problem, or basically, is there a problem at all? Here are some considerations. So, first and foremost, answer the question: who is currently solving this problem and how? Probably foundational is having somebody you can recognize as competitor and say, hey, this business has a solution that actually solves that type of problem. However, having a direct competitor is not necessary. What I'm saying is, when the team behind Uber was launching their product, there was no alternative ride-hailing app that would connect drivers with passengers. But effectively, what Uber was doing, it was competing with the taxi industry itself in their medallion system in the United States. A medallion is a permit to operate a cab, purchased from city authorities, and the number of medallions is limited. In certain areas, some cities, the prices to get those permits were simply ridiculous. They were reaching as much as $700,000. And if you're a taxi service with such a high cost basis, you have to pay that off somehow. This drove the prices up for passengers as well. So Uber made a breakthrough in that particular segment of service. And as we know, they democratized the entry cost for drivers and eventually the prices for passengers. So find competitors and see how the market solves this problem. It's not necessarily the same business model, but the bottom line is you have to find somebody who directly or indirectly solves the type of problem that you think actually exists on the market. It's very rare to find a so-called blue ocean, a niche where nobody solves the problem that you think exists. And if you're the first to solve it, you're going to build a multi-billion-dollar business. But I would say, in a majority of cases, if you don't have competitors, the problem that you see is an imagination. Now, you have identified your competitors. Next, find and interview at least 3 to 5 potential customers who are going to pay you to solve that type of problem. A little hint here: never ask people if they're willing to pay for it. They will answer that they are, because they like you, because they don't want to be rude, and at the end of the day, they are not making a decision right now. Ask them, how much are you paying now? And it's not always about paying for some competitor's software product or service. It's about paying for solving that type of problem. If people already pay for it, this means you have your market. Okay, assuming that we have a problem, competitors, and potential customers who have already been paying for solving that type of problem, we should consider why at least some of people are going to pay us. Let's talk about a competitive advantage. Ultimately, a competitive advantage is the reason why some part of the market is going to choose you and why you can survive in the market. It's the value that product brings to your customers. and makes them switch from their existing solution to what you offer. For example, you know that it takes a regular traveler, let's say 30 minutes, to choose and book a flight. If you can reduce that to 10 minutes, your product may have a competitive advantage. But don't get me wrong, not only must it be worth trying, it must be worth switching to. Now, let's get more practical with some ideas of where and how to source competitive advantages in the travel industry. A classical framework for considering types of competitive strategies was suggested by economist Michael Porter. Cost leadership. You win by lowering the cost. Differentiation. You win by providing some unique value. And focus. You narrow down the market to a couple of specific segments and either win by cost leadership or differentiation inside of those segments. So how do those competitive strategies work in the travel industry? What are the opportunities? Let's start with cost leadership. If we are talking about consumer travel, in the majority of cases, the biggest driver in customer decision-making is price. Leisure travelers are extremely price-sensitive, but if you're a small company, it's going to be hard to make cost leadership your competitive strategy. First of all, it's hard to advertise that you have the lowest cost unless you really have it. But everybody claims to have the best offer and price, don't they? But if you do go down this path, you have to deliver on this promise. Still, price can be an important part of your competitive advantage, but you have very little control over it, especially in travel distribution, primarily because it's a cost-basis-driven business. For example, if you're selling flights, 90 to 95% of the end ticket price is the cost basis that you pay to a supplier, an airline, GDS, or consolidator. What you're left with is 5 to 10% that you can consider your revenue. After spending on marketing, customer acquisition, product development, customer service, and other operational expenses, you get to, in the best case scenario, up to 5% margins left. How can you influence the cost basis? First, you have to expand the number of available inventory options and negotiate better conditions with suppliers or distributors. At this point, your personal business connections, your Rolodex, can get you better deals. Say, in flight distribution, commissions and incentives from suppliers are most likely going to be your only sources of profit. Second, you must have a robust solution to pick up the right inventory for a particular destination and dynamically control your margin to optimize your cost structure. So, unless you're a large company with lots of supplier deals and the best inventory, it's hard to make cost leadership your only competitive advantage. What about the differentiation strategy? While options abound, I'm going to focus on some key market trends and opportunities. One of these areas of improvement in travel is extensive booking and post-booking flexibility before or during a trip. That's anything that allows travelers to adjust their decisions on the fly and design a bespoke travel experience. Amendments, cancellations, refunds, choosing some extra services with perks, you name it. Yes, this will drive the cost higher, but the more flexible the conditions, the more likely that customers are going to stick with you, and you can earn extra by upselling on sellers. I have to admit, customer service was always in place. It was always the second factor after the price. You can't get around it, but you can capitalize on exceptional customer service. Please check the video by Andrei here to learn more about technical aspects of customer support. Another big opportunity to differ is customer-facing innovation and decision support. Making decisions has always been a headache in travel. Which destination should I choose? Which airline? Where should I stay? Finally, when should I book to capture the cheapest fares? If you can help travelers with these decisions, you can beat the competition. Which is what an early-stage hopper was doing. By predicting flight prices, they helped travelers book when fares were low. And this is just one example. Consider a traveler who looks for something more complex than a week in a 5-star all-inclusive hotel in Turkey. Say they want to have a 7-day trip around the south of France. It would take them days to research and combine flights, hotels, activities, and winery visits. A perfect decision support system would recognize a traveler's preferences, create such an itinerary in a matter of minutes. Customer-facing innovation leads to better engagement, driving your revenues up while saving costs on acquisition. On top of that, as you help with buying decisions, you can create the impression that your service is cheaper. Not necessarily that your service is much cheaper, but if you're able to communicate to a customer at scale that you're going to help them choose a cheaper option, you can create the impression that they're saving money with you. And finally, one of the biggest opportunities from my personal perspective is to narrow down your focus to a specific niche and make a difference there. If you are in the travel distribution business, it's hard to compete with giants. You know that. Goliaths exist. Now, it's possible to beat Goliaths, but you would better have a well-designed stone to put on your slingshot. Booking Holdings and Expedia control the majority of the online travel agency market. They cover the entire market but still leave specific niches underserved. So you should look for those in terms of geography, type of service, unique inventory, or any segment where you can provide customer experience fuller and richer than any of the Goliaths. Say, my dream idea of a niche product is the one focusing on foodie tours. I love those, and it would be great to build an app helping travelers find special restaurants, cooking master classes, Michelin spots, best chefs, along with the accommodation that fits the tour. Another rising trend here is the so-called workation. When people travel and work away from home for a long period of time, from a week to several months. The workation is a result of a work and life paradigm change that started happening during the pandemic and kept on evolving after. Because of lockdowns and working from home, people tend to lose control of their work-life balance, and eventually they start burning out. So businesses are becoming increasingly more flexible in terms of accepting and even appreciating remote work. They let people change their surroundings, get new experiences, work and travel with their families. So, workationers are driving the change in the concept of business hotels and have increased demand for alternative accommodation. Business hotels have always been good places to sleep and okay places to work, but they don't have facilities to support a workationer's lifestyle. Our workationer needs a quiet room to work in with a fast internet connection to support extensive video calls. By the way, for this very reason, the major gripe about Airbnb is that you can't filter properties by internet connection speed. Then you need some entertainment for your kids while you work. Traditional business hotels haven't been focusing on this paradigm change just yet. So workationers started switching to alternative accommodations that can provide a setting for both work and family time. It will drive large capital expenses for traditional business hotels to catch the trend. And as a great opportunity for a strategic focus, you definitely should explore it. Okay, now that you have verified the problem and decided on competitive advantage, you can articulate your value proposition to your customer. In my next video, I'll talk about your value proposition and how to match it with your product vision. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for being with me today, and see you next time.